Hi everyone, I am here with a review of our viola lesson from last week, and this was a very exciting lesson because we received the music for our winter concert in January. So every student went home with a double-sided sheet of music, which is basically everything we're playing in the concert. If your student was not in their lesson, I did email it out to parents, and I also have it on the screen here to look at. And the idea of this concert is to demonstrate all of the things that we've learned so far this year. So we're going to start out by playing some pretty basic things from the beginning of the year and sort of work our way up to the more challenging things that we're working on now. And almost all of the music comes directly out of the lesson book, but instead of having students flip through pages to get to every tune, I've just copy and pasted them all onto one sheet of paper to make it a little bit easier. So let's check out the things that we're playing in the concert. Some of them are new and we'll stop and look at them, but some of them are review, and I'll just leave those to you to work on your own. So we start with tunes using open strings. So this is right from the very beginning. From the very beginning of the year, when we hadn't learned how to put fingers on the strings yet and we just played open strings. Okay, so I picked 3 of these tunes, number 5, 6, and 7. Those at this point should be pretty easy for most students, and if you still need some help with that, there is a video from the beginning of the year that you can go back and watch, but I would say these are mostly just play through them to remind yourself how they go, but for the most part these should be pretty easy for most students. The one new thing that you can do is now add in the bowing directions, because we hadn't learned that at the beginning of the year, so now you can add in the retakes. That could be one new thing to work on. Then we go down to tunes using one finger and open strings, okay? And we spent a lot of time on these, I think back in like October. This is the G and D tune where you put 3 fingers down on the D string and then play open D. There's the F sharp and D tune, which is 2 fingers with open D, and then E and D tune, 1 finger and open D. And again, these shouldn't be super hard for students at this point. In fact, it's actually really neat to have them go back and play these, and many students will say, this used to be so hard, and now that we've done all of these other things, this is actually pretty easy. So it's nice to recognize how all of the hard work has been paying off. So I love when students go back and play number 10, 11, and 12 and recognize that. So again, that's a review. Now we get to something that is new, number 22, hop around on D. It was an assignment one week, but we didn't spend a lot of time on it in class, so I'd like to spend some time going over it now. Okay, so 22, hop around on D, we're going to start with these first 2 measures, and the note names are D, E, D, E, A, A, A. Okay, and you're probably thinking, that's pretty easy because it's basically all open strings, and then there's one note where you have to put a finger down. You're absolutely right. The D's and the A's are open strings. The only note that you have to put a finger down for is E. That's 1 finger. This is what those first 2 measures sound like. D, E, D, E, A. Okay, the most challenging thing about that is tilting your bow to the A string and not hitting other strings as you're doing that. Okay, the next 2 measures, D, F sharp, D, F sharp, A, A, A. And you're probably, again, recognizing the pattern. These 2 measures are essentially the same thing as these 2 measures. We've just swapped out the E for an F sharp, which is 2 fingers. So this is what the next 2 measures will sound like. D, F sharp, D, F sharp, A, A, A. Okay, let's put together all 4 measures from the beginning. So the D's and the E's, and then the D's and the F sharps. Here's what they sound like. Great. So now the last part breaks from the pattern that we've had so far, but it actually is just a different pattern that you can probably almost see right now. Let's go through them together. We have D and then G, G, G. G we have not played in this tune yet. G is 3 fingers on the D string. D, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. D, E, 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 D. And of course, you're noticing that you just play D and then 3 fingers, D and 2 fingers, and D and 1 finger. So a pretty simple pattern, kind of something that you can almost memorize. This is what the last 4 measures will sound like. And notice when I take my fingers off to play open D, I don't open my hand like this. That would make it really hard to find where my fingers go again, okay? I'm making sure that I just kind of hover them right over the string so they're ready to go. So here's Hop Around on D all the way through. If you have your viola, you can play along with me. The other thing is that if you're really comfortable with the notes, try to add in those bowing directions, the retakes. Those are important as well. So here it is. Oops, sorry. Here's D. Retake. Good. So that's Hop Around on D. Again, take some time to look at that one. That one's a little bit more challenging than the other ones. And next is something else that's new this week, the D major scale. Okay, and a scale basically means that you start on one note, in this case, open D, and you keep going up stepwise until you get to that same note an octave higher. So we're going to something called a high D, which we learned this week. And let's just start by going through the notes that we know. Now you'll see that these are half notes, they're 2-beat notes, and basically that just means we're going to be going a little bit slower, using all of our bow and making sure we're getting a good tone while we're doing that. I like to take this slower than the other things, so I wrote them out as half notes. Okay, but this is a D, open D, we know that. Then we have E, 1 finger on the D string. F sharp, 2 fingers on the D string. G, 3 fingers on the D string. Popping over to the A string. Then this was our new note from last week. B, 1 finger on the A string. And then these 2 notes right here were the new things this week. This note is called C sharp. It's 2 fingers on the A string. You probably could have caught that from recognizing the pattern that we have going with this scale. So anytime you see this note right here, that is C sharp, 2 fingers on the A string. And finally, we have 2 ledger lines here. This line note is called D. It's not the same as open D. It's 3-finger D. It's called high D. It's kind of like how we know 2 different Gs. We know an open G string and a 3-finger G. This is the same thing. We know an open D string and a 3-finger D. Okay, so again, if you kind of recognize that pattern while I was saying the note names, we start on open D, then we add 1, 2, 3 fingers, then we go to open A and add 1, 2, 3 fingers, and that's the scale. And most students end up memorizing this. They don't really need the music. I have it written out so you can see it, but for a scale, most students end up being able to play it without even looking. So I'm going to go up the scale right now. We'll talk about going backwards in a minute, but this is what all the way up the D major scale sounds like. And G. Oops. Perfect. Okay. So that's what the going up the D major scale sounds like. And while you're doing that, you can take time to make sure that your fingers are really going in the right spots, that they're going on the tapes that we have on our instruments. And you kind of know what this should sound like. If you're in chorus, it's the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do that we sing at the beginning, right? And you might have done that in music class too. So that's going all the way up the scale. When you get to the top, we don't repeat the high D. We just start automatically going right back down to C sharp. So we go 3, 2, 1, open A. Then you cross over to 3 on D. That's the hardest part, getting from the open A to 3 on D. 2, 1, open. Okay. So here's the whole D major scale all the way up and all the way down. If you have your viola, play it with me, or if you just want to listen, that's okay too. Back down. Great. And like I said, probably after playing that a couple of times, you'll just have it memorized. You won't even need the music at all. And last but not least, we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star as part of our concert. We spent a lot of time on that last week, and some students probably could benefit from another week of really working on that. It's kind of a tricky tune, but again, there is another video for that if you would like to go back and need extra help on that. So these 2 pages that we just went over are what we're playing in the concert, in addition to the Peru Blue Boogie. So those are the 2 pages that you'll need. Other than that, I would say that the biggest thing this week is go through the things that you already know and review them. Okay, these shouldn't take too long, doing these open strings and the things where you just need one finger. Those should be pretty quick. Just play through it and you're done. But the new things, spend some extra time on them. Make sure that you're really comfortable with this, that you can play all the way through without having to stop. That's our goal for the concert, is we're all playing together and we can just get through it without having to stop. Okay, so happy practicing on this, and I'll see you at our lesson next week.